Chaos in southern Utah after a car crashes into an In-N-Out restaurant. Fox 13 talks exclusively with one of the witnesses inside at the time of the wreck. Westminster College in Salt Lake City facing a lawsuit from one of its own students. Tonight, the shocking allegations against the school and how the school leaders are responding.
The remains of a local soldier who were thought to be missing for decades now have a final resting spot. Coming up, we'll show you how the community is honoring the soldier who fought for our freedom.
A wet start to your weekend. Now it's going to get cold. Your forecast on the way.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Car just drove into the now.
In a video you will only see on Fox 13 tonight, a Cedar City man capturing the seconds after a car slams into an In-N-Out burger in Washington City this afternoon. You can see in this video people working to help a pedestrian that was hit by the vehicle before it crashed into the side of the building. Police tell Fox 13 that a total of 7 people were injured, one of them in critical condition tonight.
Car just drove into the now.
Ryan Diekman and his family were inside of the In-N-Out burger in Washington City as a car came barreling through the wall.
I felt a blast. I felt like the concussion in my chest, and it literally felt like a bomb had gone off behind me.
Diekman says he was filling up his drinks after ordering from the menu.
Like I just getting ready to slip my phone in my back pocket, and then boom, and that's what happened.
There were people seated where the vehicle collided at the building. One of those patients is in critical condition, was transported to our hospital.
A total of 7 people were injured, 4 transported by ambulance. As for the driver of the vehicle, police say they wrongfully pressed the accelerator instead of the brakes.
From what I've been told, there's no signs of impairment. It looked like there was maybe some distraction inside the vehicle, but all that's still going to be investigated.
As for Ryan Diekman and his family, he told me that his kids and wife were a bit shaken up after the whole thing. He says they were minutes away from potentially sitting right near the window where that car came through. Tonight, in a Fox 13 exclusive, a disabled student at Westminster College is filing a lawsuit against that school for discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. She says the school has kicked her out of student housing because of her service dog. Fox 13's Adam Herbet's at the school with a look at the case.
Well, Brian, the student we spoke to said one of the reasons she decided to come here to Westminster College is because she thought they would be sensitive to her disability. Now, after being moved around 8 times within a span of 9 months, she says she had to file a lawsuit. If you tried to send Katrina Cleveland a postcard this past year, she probably didn't get it because her address has changed almost every month.
Reasons were always just ridiculous as to why I had to move.
It certainly feels like retaliation.
Katrina is a hearing-impaired student at Westminster College. And this is her service dog, Todd. Plenty of her friends love Todd, but when she tried to live with them, she said the school stuck her with other roommates with allergies and then made her move over and over and over.
The whole school doesn't have dog allergies. You know, there's got to be an apartment out there that has an open room.
Either Katrina was very, very unlucky, or the college just wasn't taking any steps to make sure that she wasn't the one that was consistently being uprooted.
She says at first the school made her feel like a nuisance, but then took steps to get rid of her for good by blaming her for a picture that her roommate admitted to drawing and posting in the apartment.
You have to really look at it to determine what it is, and it's hateful. It's very anti-Semitic, it's very hateful.
I'm frustrated that I'm the one that's in trouble for this.
Katrina says she is now banned from student housing for a year, while her roommate was never punished. When we reached out to Westminster College for comment, they said they could not discuss the case due to student privacy laws.
I have no ill will towards anybody involved in this, even the people that are doing this to me. There's no ill will. Everybody says college is hard, but I feel like it shouldn't be this hard.
Right now, Katrina is still in the process of moving because of this whole ordeal. She says one of the most important things she wants to come out of this lawsuit is for her academic record to be cleared so she can get into grad school. Reporting at Westminster College, Adam Herbet's, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, to weather now, and the snow is moving out, but the cold moving in. Meteorologist Doug Iverson in for Breck Bolton with our first alert forecast. Hi, Doug.
Hello there, Bride. Yes, definitely the cold air is filtered in. We are certainly colder than we were 24 hours ago. And there's still remnants of the storm we had last night, this morning around. I encountered what seemed to be a snow shower, more like snow pellets in West Valley this evening. But you could see isolated specks of blue across the Salt Lake Valley. A little more shower activity in the form of snow over the mountains off towards the west, of course, over the Oakers right now. Temperatures out there, we're at 32 in Tooele. 28 in Harriman, Lehigh at 29 degrees, Colville at 20, Heber, you're already at 14, 12 up in Evanston, Logan at 26 degrees. So it is cold, getting cold in a hurry out there. Wendover, you're already freezing, and you're barely above freezing in Cedar City, 46 in St. George, and it looks like we're finally getting a little rain down there in the southwest quarter. We'll talk more about your forecast for tonight and look at the rest of the weekend coming up.
All right, thank you, Doug. In Clinton, 6 people are without a home after an overnight fire. Firefighters say the fire started in the garage, but then spread through the attic into the portion of the home. 2 vehicles in the garage, as well as one outside, and an enclosed trailer outside of the home were all deemed a total loss. Fire crews determined the cause of the fire was accidental after an unattended propane heater was left too close to combustibles in the garage. No one was hurt. An update now on a story we brought you last night. Unified Police have taken a 15-year-old girl into custody after she allegedly stabbed another teen. Police say the girls met at a parking lot off of 37th South and 9th East to fight when the suspect pulled out a knife and stabbed the other girl in the stomach several times. We're told the victim is recovering in the hospital tonight. After decades of no answers, a local Marine killed in action in World War II being honored today by his loved ones. The remains of Robert James Hatch were thought to be lost, but they were returned to Utah this week. Fox 13's Katia Collins joins us from Hatch's graveside service.
I dedicate this spot of ground as the final resting place for Robert James Hatch.
A hero's welcome home. In 1943, Private First Class Robert James Hatch was killed fighting in World War II. He was just 20 years old.
They didn't think that he would ever be recovered. It had been years and years and years, and they just thought he was unrecoverable.
His family learned his remains had been recovered just months ago.
Hoping we will hear some good news from your office. Yours truly, Mrs. Clyde A. Hatch.
Hatch was killed on the 3rd day of the Battle of Karawa, where he was buried in a common grave with 4 other soldiers.
And Jim was setting up his machine gun when he was shot and killed and died almost immediately.
The grave was lost, but recovered earlier this year.
We thought Rodeo may well have been a myth because we could not find it because it didn't match up with all the other trenches.
So far, History Flight has recovered 200 soldiers, and archaeologists say there are over 300 more to go, all from the 3-day battle. 76 years later, Robert Hatch is back home, reunited with his family at last.
I'm so proud of him and proud of his brother. And he was a part of my life growing up that I just loved. And I'm so glad that he's back home again.
Private First Class Hatch was laid to rest in the Bountiful Cemetery alongside his brothers, parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents.
Broke our hearts when he was gone. I'm glad he's back.
Katia Collins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Your kids are going to love you for it.
Still to come tonight, a one-of-a-kind action sports park now open in Park City. We'll take you inside that brand new facility. And a local girl gets to live her dreams on stage. We'll show you how a local production of the Nutcracker Ballet is helping to make all of this happen.
You're watching Fox 13 News. Let's connect.
Thanks for staying with us tonight. Few holiday traditions are as timeless as the Nutcracker, a ballet company in Sandy showcasing their production right now. The cast includes one young girl who was dancing through barriers. Fox 13's John Franke shares her story.
Nothing is going to stop 8-year-old Sarah Lutkin. Her family adopted her from Ukraine. She's been dancing for 4 years, and when that curtain goes up, she shines on the stage. Those bright lights can intimidate the most experienced performers, but they are no match for Sarah Lutkin.
What are you? What's your costume? That mouse.
Sarah plays a mouse in Mountain West Ballet's Nutcracker. The nerves might get to Sarah's mom more than Sarah herself.
My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I was so excited.
Sarah has Down syndrome.
It's amazing. It proves that our kids are just like you and me, that they are capable to do things like this.
Like all those other kids on stage, Sarah put in the work. Hours of practice and preparation for this moment.
Do you have fun doing this?
Uh-huh.
Mountain West Ballet includes dancers of all skill levels who are willing to make a commitment to the production.
It is fun. It's great to see dancers of all different abilities and all different backgrounds coming together, pulling together to put on a production like that.
But make no mistake, Sarah auditioned and met all the requirements to be in the show.
She was very confident, walked in stage with her peers.
She earned her way on this stage.
People look at people with disabilities and kind of think and maybe doubt that they can't do the same things, but Sarah has been amazing. And
Thanks to Sarah, we can all enjoy her passion for dance.
she talks about all the time how dance is exciting.
And we can all benefit from her example.
She keeps up.
Sometimes the barriers we face are the ones we allow to get in the way.
It doesn't matter what their background is, they're all working together for the magic.
Sarah is quite the inspiration. You can catch her and the rest of the Mountain West Ballet cast in the Nutcracker through December 21st. In the newsroom, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Great story with an even better message. Thank you, John. A local teen who loves Christmas is finally seeing his dream of bringing the joy of the holiday season to others come true. Kagan McCullough has been working the past few years at the Newgate Mall as a Christmas elf. Kagan has Down syndrome. He's nonverbal, but he doesn't let that hold him back. Kagan's mom called the local Salvation Army, and the group decided to let him volunteer as a bell ringer at Smith's Marketplace in Kaysville today. Kagan even got to dress up as his favorite Santa Claus himself.
He got a phone last year for his birthday, and he's been finding on a GPS the North Pole. And he tells me home, he signs home. This is where he wants to live. That's too cold for me, and he gets mad. He wants to live at the North Pole. But he loves Santa, and this is like the perfect job for him.
Sounds like a great job for you, Kagan. His mom says he only has 1 year of school left. Kagan wants to eventually entertain kids full-time as a Santa and a clown for children's parties. Some local high schoolers got to brush up on their esports skills in a League of Legends tournament today at the University of Utah. It was just a practice tournament hosted by iTeam USA, which promotes computer science and IT among kids. Most of the time, esports tournaments can mean bragging rights and lots of cash, but some students say they like to take part because it relaxes them from stressful activities.
For a lot of us, it's hard to find people that have a lot of the same kind of likes as us. So we want to find, it's just easy to click with people because we already have that base of what is easy for us to get along with.
Riot Games, the makers of League of Legends, even stopped by and gave the students some merchandise. In southern Utah now, Bryan Head Resort cut the ribbon on its new Navajo Express high-speed chairlift. The chairlift actually opened to the public last weekend, but this was the grand ceremony. This lift replaces the old Navajo chairlift that served the resort for 30 years.
We had our first high-speed chairlift installed about 5 years ago over at Giant Steps. This just complements it at the Navajo side of the mountain. So we have the latest, greatest state-of-the-art lift service capabilities on both sides of the mountain now.
Organizers say the old chairlift took roughly 12 to 13 minutes to get you up the mountain. Now this new chairlift takes about half the time, 5 to 6 minutes, much more user-friendly. A brand new world-class year-round action sports resort now open right here in Park City. Here's Fox 13's Amy Nay with what Woodward Park City has to offer.
It's really endless what you can do.
This is a great facility for, well, obviously for many sports, but especially skating.
I'm just like a kid in a candy shop.
Pro athletes from the worlds of snowboarding, skateboarding, and motocross helping Woodward Park City with their grand opening this weekend.
It's pretty spectacular. This is the only integrated all-in-one action sports and ski resort in the country and the world, and we're so excited to have it all here together.
Built on 125 acres, the resort will feature 10 different action sports, including skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, skating, tubing, BMX, parkour, and more.
You've got the trampolines, you got the skate parks, you have the on-slope facility, you have the park for beginners out there. It's like kind of endless what you can do.
Olympic gold medalist Sage Katzenberg is from Park City, but says there's nothing like this anywhere.
I'm 26 and I feel like I'm a little kid again right now.
All of this seems like a dream come true because when we were skating, especially as kids, we never imagined that it would ever be accepted or that you could ever make a living at it.
Pro skater Tony Hawk on having a skate park a part of this world-class facility.
Everything is state of the art. It's designed well. It's for all skill levels, all styles. I mean, it's incredible. I'm just thankful that I get to be alive to skate stuff like this now.
And while the pros love it, the folks at Woodward Park City say it's for all ages and skill levels.
Some of our favorite experiences have been 70-year-old bankers learning backflips into these foam pits. So it's not just for the kids, it's kids at heart as well.
Look outside and, it's snowing right now. It's usually out of my element. And they're just shredding this mountain. It's just unbelievable.
Travis Pastrana, a pro motorsports competitor who's won X Games gold medals, says this park helps make Utah a mecca.
You want to be active? This is where you want to be.
Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you want to check out Woodward Park City, memberships for people aged 7 and older costs $100. For more information on the facility, head to our website. That's fox13now.com. Doug and I are just sitting here in awe of all the pros in Park City. I know we're sitting here just jaw-dropping, saying,
Hawk.
can we go now? Can we go?
Please.
Travis Pastrana was mentioning the snow. And I know there's still a little bit of snow hanging around in some higher elevations, but it seems like a change is on the way.
Yeah, change is on the way. Colder air settling in. And we were talking about Brian Head. Yeah, they got that new lift. Well, they're picking up snow right now, and they could get up to ½ foot overnight, so good news. Here's what we got so far. Snow tally. Snowbird, 12 inches. Alta 11, Lake Town, you know where that's at, right? South Shore of Bear Lake, 7½ inches. Solitude, ½ foot. Roosevelt over in Duchesne County at 4 inches. City Creek, and that would be at the water treatment plant, has picked up 2 inches. Morgan, 1 inch of snow and more on the way, at least for the southern Utah mountains. We still have a winter weather advisory out tonight until about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Additional snowfall, 1 to 6 inches. Again, Brian Head, you are right smack dab in the middle of that. If you're going to be driving I-15, certainly dicey between Cedar City and Beaver overnight into tomorrow morning. So take it easy if you have to venture north or south. And even the Pine Valley Mountains just north of St. George under this winter weather advisory as well. You'll see some fresh snow in St. George, looking up at the mountains at least. And you may be seeing some rain right now. Radar indicating some wet weather over that corner of the state. We still have a lot of clouds over the southeast corner. Eventually, that moisture that's there will be here, and it will turn to snow overnight into early morning. So Blanding, don't be surprised if you get some snow and you have some on the ground by tomorrow. I'm not expecting a lot, but enough to remind you that it is December after all, right? And here's the leading edge of our next weather maker. Could potentially bring snow along the Wasatch Front as early as late tomorrow night and perhaps even impact your morning commute on Monday. 21 for a low in Salt Lake City, so colder air indeed. Evanston, 3 for a low. At least it's a positive 3, not the negative. Park City, 8 for a low tonight once the skies really clear out. And there's that snow I was mentioning, maybe some rain to start before it turns to all snow over in Blanding. Moab, you should be dry at 26 degrees, 18 in Price. Price tomorrow, you rise above freezing. And we're going to be freezing cold in Salt Lake City. Temperatures, struggling tomorrow. Just above freezing in Provo at 34, Delta around 36, and Milford will have a high temperature at 36 as well. Cedar City will be in the mid-30s. We'll have a lot of clouds to start off your Sunday over in St. George, kind of leftovers from the rain that we're getting in the area tonight. And then some snow lingering over the very southern extreme of the state by morning, and then things start to change. Now, futurecast there for the morning, you can see the snow along the Utah-Arizona border. That kind of fizzles out a little bit. And then we're watching another storm system off to the west developing. We could see some pop-up snow showers over the Wasatch Mountains and the Oakers tomorrow. So if you look that way or that way. It could be a little stormy. Might have a hard time seeing those mountains. Your 7-day forecast for southern Utah. We got plenty of sunshine, especially after tomorrow. Temperatures in the 40s. Won't see 50s again until next Friday and Saturday. Lows are going to be pretty cold. We're down into the 20s. And cold lows for northern Utah. Not tonight, but it looks like Monday night and Tuesday night will be in the teens. There's that chance of snow tomorrow night with a chance of that snow lingering Monday morning. And then we start a warming trend. That'll be nice. Next week, we'll be back in those 40s Friday and Saturday.
As you see in that Salt Lake Tribune camera right there, nice night downtown,
Yeah,
just to be out and about.
Yeah. The better night to get around, too, I think.
Right. Thank you, Doug. Still to come, researchers finding a new way to detect cancer early. What type of cancer this could help fight quicker. Plus, air travelers will have one less option getting to and from the airport. Which company is folding its hand after 30 years in business? Health headlines tonight, a new procedure helping doctors identify pancreatic cancer and eliminate it before it even develops. Researchers at Ohio State are looking at a new diagnostic method that allows them to do a sort of virtual biopsy. It would give them a microscopic view of a patient's stomach and cyst wall and allow them to make a diagnosis with complete confidence.
Looking at the wall, the pattern, the image pattern which comes from the cyst wall, which comes as a direct video feed in real time, we can conclude what the diagnosis is.
It just makes me feel really, really good that I'm going to be here.
Researchers are now training doctors in hospitals across the country to perform this new procedure. They're also working to develop artificial intelligence that will flag cases that are likely precancerous, so doctors can act quickly. Researchers in the UK say they found a promising alternative depression medication, magic mushrooms. They gave patients a small dose of the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms. Patients experienced positive changes in their moods, and they didn't have any negative side effects. Researchers believe this treatment could be beneficial for people who don't see results from more traditional treatments. A new Japanese study links drinking any amount of alcohol to an increased cancer risk. Researchers found people there who have a drink a day for 10 years could increase their cancer risk by 5%. The risk was about the same for anyone who has 2 drinks per day for any amount of time. The study found the only people who didn't see an increased cancer risk didn't drink at all. In tonight's Money Watch, American Airlines announced they're canceling all flights scheduled to use the 737 MAX planes through the first week of April. The FAA grounded the planes after 2 deadly crashes in the past year. Plane maker Boeing had expected flights would resume by the end of this month, but the FAA says their investigation isn't complete. This is the 9th time American Airlines has changed flights due to the delay. They estimate it'll affect about 140 flights daily. At least one car company is speeding past the slowing car market in the U.S. Subaru now says it expects to hit sales records, basically a new record high within the next year. The smallest of the Japanese car makers now say it'll likely sell up to 730,000 vehicles next year. That's up over 4% from this past year. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are giving out fewer so-called risky mortgages. The Federal Housing Agency requested it cut back on mortgages to people with small down payments and with a lot of debt. These changes are meant to prepare for any economic issues and could increase profits. That could help take the companies public. Critics say this move flies in the face of the company's mission to make housing more affordable. Still to come tonight, there's been dozens of deaths at one racetrack in California, but there's a big change happening that could put a stop to it. We'll explain.
Police identifying 3 middle schoolers as the prime suspects in the murder of a New York City college student. I'm Jackie Heinrich. I'll have the latest on the investigation coming up.
Thanks for staying with us on Fox 13 News at 9. In national news tonight, it's looking to become a decisive moment in the battle over impeachment. A full House vote expected to come next week, where Democrats are poised to make President Trump only the 3rd president in U.S. history to be impeached. Fox's Mark Meredith has more tonight from the White House.
The full House is expected to vote on impeachment sometime next week. This as officials here at the White House are already gearing up for that likely trial in the Senate come January. The president himself is not shying away from this issue of impeachment. The president firing off several tweets today criticizing the pending impeachment vote. He continues to call it a hoax and a decision that could impact future administrations. This, as Fox has learned, the president had a chance to meet with New Jersey Democratic Congressman Jeff Van Drew on Friday to discuss potentially switching parties. Van Drew has been openly critical about impeachment, although it's unclear when a potential party switch may happen. The president has also been in touch with Republican senators to talk about impeachment. This, as one Republican senator told Fox, the proceedings would look a lot different than what we've seen play out in the House the last couple of weeks.
So what you will see from the Senate is something that is done complete, that we're not going to leave bits and pieces that are not explored. We are going to be complete in this. If it takes us a while, it takes a while. If it is done quickly, it will be done quickly, but we will do it appropriately, properly, and with respect to the American voter.
Senate Democrats, though, are demanding lawmakers hold off on any judgments, at least for now. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer put out a statement on Friday. He said, if articles of impeachment are sent to the Senate, every single senator will take an oath to render impartial justice, making sure the Senate conducts a fair and honest trial that allows all the facts to come out is paramount. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell spoke to Fox earlier this week, in which he said he's been speaking with the White House counsel, letting them know how an impeachment trial would play out. He also says he believes there is really no chance that the president would be removed from office. Reporting at the White House, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
In Arizona, authorities say the body of a missing 6-year-old girl who was swept away during a flash flood 2 weeks ago has been found. Willa Rawlings was traveling with her family November 29th when floodwaters overtook their vehicle. 2 of her siblings were found shortly after the flood. Crews used drones, boats, and sonar equipment in their search over the last 13 days. After some 36 horse deaths over the past year, California's Santa Anita Racetrack is unveiling new technology that hopes it will stop this trend. Officials say the so-called PET scanner is the first machine of its kind. It's a scanner that moves up and down to make a more detailed scan of horses' legs. The idea is to identify pre-existing conditions and prevent injuries. Investigators are looking for evidence of possible animal cruelty or other crimes. And air travelers will have one less option for rides to and from the airport. The Super Shuttle van service, known for its blue and white vans, going out of business at the end of the year. The company has served a number of airports in the U.S. and internationally over the past 30 years. The company has already notified at least some of the airports and its franchises that it's folding. In New York City, police have identified 3 middle schoolers as suspects in the murder of a college student. Fox's Jackie Heinrich has the latest on this investigation.
The community at New York's Barnard College still searching for answers after a freshman student was killed this week during an attempted robbery.
I think it's really shook up like the campus, and everybody really feels like scared, and nobody really knows like what to do exactly.
18-year-old Virginia native Tessa Majors had only been in the city for 3 months when she was stabbed to death in Morningside Park Wednesday night. Police believe 3 middle schoolers are responsible. They say the suspects went to the park with the intention of robbing someone. One suspect, a 13-year-old boy in custody, told investigators he watched 2 others put Majors in a chokehold and raid her pockets before stabbing her. Majors was able to climb some stairs where a school security guard found her and called 911. She died of her injuries at the hospital.
Violence don't have no boundaries at all. They don't know their limit. So just to see something like this and hear about it, it shakes me up.
People who know the teen suspect expressed shock at his involvement. His own mother reportedly died a few years ago. His aunt and uncle appeared to be in shock at his hearing.
We need to police our own kids so the police don't have to do such a job on our kids.
Police have not confirmed if a second teen is also in custody. They're reportedly still looking for the other suspect involved. In New York, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Still to come, a piece of technology saves a man's life in the nick of time. We'll tell you how. Doug?
And our mild weather continued today, but that will be changing real soon. We did top out at 42 this afternoon. And we are 11 degrees above average at night. Colder, though. In fact, tomorrow, that will be our high, not our low. Your forecast coming up.
Caught on camera, simply wrong place, wrong time for one armed robber in Massachusetts. Take a look at this. The suspect was emptying the cash register at a local carryout when an officer happened to walk into the store for his daily visit. The crook was so caught up with the money he was taking, the officer was able to casually approach the counter and draw his gun. After a brief fight with the cop and some help from other customers, this man was taken into custody. In Arizona, firefighters rescued a cat that was reportedly stuck in a pine tree for nearly a week. A woman posted a plea for help on a local animal rescue group's Facebook page. One of the group's volunteers was a firefighter, alerted a local crew with a ladder truck. After nearly a week in the tree, firefighters were able to safely remove the cat. The group said it was starving and dehydrated, but thankfully that cat is now being treated. Cell phones sometimes blamed for causing car accidents, but for one Iowa man, his phone saved him after one. Gael Saucedo was on his way to class when his Jeep hit a patch of ice, sending him careening into the Winnebago River. When he wasn't able to locate his phone, he simply called out to Siri to call 911. The fire department quickly responded and brought him to safety. Still to come, the new Jumanji movie is out, but what do critics think about it? We've got a review coming up.
And later in sports, the Utes will be missing another key member of their secondary for the upcoming Alamo Bowl, and highlights from the final Beehive Classic, including a great finish between BYU and Utah State. Back in a bit.
The latest installment of the Jumanji series is now at the movies. Our Steve Oldfield says it's not great, but it's a good bet for the family if you're looking for big screen fun.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Jumanji's definitely an escape, but it's not great. I'll admit I had some fun and laughed out loud, and kids won't get bored for a second.
Are you out of your mind?
They're once again taking you on a crazy trip inside a video game, and this time, Jumanji's not just in the jungle.
It is a new and exciting world that we're in. No one knew that the Jumanji world could expand in this way with new characters.
The entire cast shines. We got really creative, where I'm playing Danny DeVito, Kevin's playing Danny Glover.
Did I die and turn into some kind of a small, muscular Boy Scout?
Oh, it's really good to be part of the family.
But wait, there's more, and as you might expect, it has to do with some wild animal co-stars.
We have a horse as a new character. Just go with it. Trust me when you see the movie.
And these primates steal the show, a bunch of mandrills in a scene that looks pretty amazing.
So we've got that magical combo of comedy and action adventure. And if you love the first Jumanji, you're gonna love the new one, next level.
You have to watch Jumanji in a theater. It is big, it is fun, it is adventure.
I agree with the stars. This movie is best viewed on the big screen. Steve Oldfield, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you shop for your cars in the $100,000 range, you can afford to be picky. Fox 13's car critic Brian Champagne shows you two models from Lexus that pack a lot of luxury, but it might not be enough to stay popular.
When you first open the door, you notice the floating armrest in the LS500H Lexus loaned us. The seat buckle raises up to meet you, and the spoiling begins with leather I can't pronounce on seats that massage and heat, though it's a pain to turn them on. So right now, while I am getting a back massage, my seat heated, and my steering wheel heated as well, this isn't necessarily the best seat in this car. This is. It even reclines. As it should for almost $108,000. It raises itself up and detects bicycles. It's a hybrid, so it gets decent for its size gas mileage, but it makes its own sound accelerating and turning. This was the 2019, but there are minor changes for 2020. Same with the LX570 we borrowed. It could do all this climbing 2 years ago, and it hasn't changed. though our new loaner picks up 37 cubic feet of cargo space by ditching the third row. To look at the biggest new feature on the 2019 LX, we have to get it dark, open the door, and look at the ground. That logo's about it. Both vehicles are modern and don't need an update, but maybe you want one. Sales are down for both. Brian Champagne, Fox 13's Car Critic.
And Doug Iverson in for Breck Bolton. We got rain in southwestern Utah. The weather station reporting some light rain at 46 degrees. No wind to speak of. Visibility still good despite the moisture out there. We're already freezing up here in Salt Lake City at 31 degrees. Some junky clouds around, remnants of the moisture we've had earlier today. Our radar satellite map pretty much tells the story. Northern Utah clearing up. Southern Utah starting to cloud up and some moisture pushing its way through St. George. We're going to get some snow, I think, overnight with some rain up around Cedar City. And we're starting to see some snow fall just north of St. George in the mountains. You know the mountains, Pine Valley Mountains, just to the north of town. And this moisture will continue to trek towards the east into southeastern Utah. So Blanding, probably some rain and then snow overnight. And then we're eyeballing our next storm system. Look at this guy. Here it comes, rolling down over northern California. It's breaking up quite a bit, so there's a question mark on this, whether we'll really get much out of it. But there is a chance starting tomorrow night for northern Utah, and that chance of snow will continue for your commute Monday morning. I know the timing with these storms, it seems like they happen either during the evening commute or the morning commute and or both. So here we go again, right? We'll take a look at the temperatures out there right now. You want warmer? How's 61 sound in Phoenix right now? 62 in Los Angeles. Las Vegas at 56. Tomorrow there, temperatures still in the 50s, not too much warmer than it is right now, as a matter of fact. A little bit cooler, though, in Phoenix tomorrow. The warm spot will be actually Albuquerque, New Mexico, with lots of sunshine and a high of 64. Well, we'll be about half that in Elko. 34 for a high there, wind over at 34. Brigham City won't even get above freezing yet again, 28 degrees. Delta at 36, Fillmore at 34 with a mix of clouds and sunshine. I think in the morning will be a little cloudier than the afternoon. And there's the rain and snow mix for at least southeastern Utah in the morning hours. Blanding only 34, so you better believe you're going to get a little snow out of this round overnight. And we'll be freezing up in Vernal and Duchesne. Price will get above freezing, one of the lucky few there. Nephi just barely, and we'll flip those numbers around in Green River at 43, 41 in Moab. To the Wasatch front and Wasatch back, 33 at Salt Lake City tomorrow, Ogden at 28. These are the highs, not the lows. 22 for a high at Park City with a mix of clouds and sunshine. As we take a look at your planner tomorrow, a colder morning, 21 degrees, bundle up. Lots of sunshine, it'll look warm. Temperatures will get above freezing. And then by the evening, we'll have snow nearby. That's that storm that could bring snow tomorrow night into Monday morning. A cloudy start to your Sunday in St. George, mainly sunny in the afternoon. Sky clearing up even more in the evening with a temperature in the lower 40s. Your southern Utah 7-day forecast looking ahead, we got 40s. Clear through Friday, we're looking at temperatures in the 50s starting Friday and then mid-50s on Saturday. Northern Utah, chance of snow tomorrow night into Monday morning, and look at those cold nights. We got two really cold nights, Monday and Tuesday. Lows only in the teens, but we get another warming trend. We're back in the 40s Friday and Saturday.
All right, so the final year of the Beehive Classic took place tonight with a good matchup. I was pretty excited about BYU and Utah State, especially after the afternoon matinee between Utah and Weber State.
Yeah, Utah State and BYU, great game tonight, ending on a George Costanza high note. Let me tell you, the Aggies getting Neemias Queta back in the lineup after missing significant time with an injury, though he did not start tonight. Watching the Cougars fire out to a 9-2 start. Ryan Toulson from the backwoods, then TJ Haas has Yoli Childs in his sights, just flicks it up high enough for the Bingham product to go do the rest. BYU up 7 at the break. Here's Queta contributing 11 off the bench. The Aggies within 6. Then Abel Porter drops a tray from the top, followed by a big shot, Sam Merrill late in the game. Merrill only 2 for 10 from the field, but able to make it a 3-point game. But Royal Blue more clutch than Navy was. Haas tickling some twine from distance. Then a 1-point Coug lead. Final minute when the Arizona transfer, Alex Barcelo gets the rock back in the corner, foot on the line, and he drops it. Craig Smith draws up a response, but Merrill rims off after the spin, 68-64, as BYU holds on
I didn't start off the game too hot, but I love my guys and I love my team and coaching staff for it. They picked me up and they told me to just trust it, and they believe in me, and they knew that my shots were eventually going to fall. And luckily we won the game, and we're so happy for it.
Stay at the Viv. The Utes facing Weber State for the first time in 11 years. Nice ball movement. Ends up in the hands of Brandon Carlson, forcing a Randy Ray timeout. Starting for the injured Rylan Jones, Jackson Brenchley only connected on one field goal, but it was a beauty. Weber trying to stay close. Jarek Harding pulls up like diapers to lead them with 17. And then nice dump as well for a streaking Israel Barnes, but the Utes held him to only 49 on Saturday. Timmy Allen, a game-high 19 as Utah takes it by 11, their 4th straight win.
These in-state games, I think it comes down to some energy. We did a terrific job on the glass. And up until the last 3-4 minutes, we did a really good job of taking care of the ball. But it's a big win for us.
Having games like Weber State like that, we try to play hard. It's an in-state rival, so, it's all about grinding it out. I was pretty proud of our guys for doing that.
Southern Utah riding back-to-back one-point wins. Perhaps he's the good luck charm. Admire this dunk, John Knight III, pouring in 19th for the T-Birds. Then key bucket here. Knight again, this time after the jump stop at the block. UCSB, though, still had a shot to win it at the horn, but Matt Freeman's runner hits the side of the backboard. Woo! 62-61 over the Gauchos. SUU is 4-0 at home. The Utes completed practice number 3 today, where we learned that Jalen Johnson will not lace up at the Alamo Bowl, instead electing to get ready for the NFL Draft. Instead, though all of the seniors will play against Texas. Speaking of the Lone Star State, Utah has 11 players on its roster from Texas, as well as a Longhorn transfer in Cam Rising. And many of those guys would have worn the burnt orange if only they were wanted over there.
I didn't get much look from Texas, so I'm going to come out with a little extra juice and just get the guys fired up.
Not being recruited by them, and I feel that I was capable of playing there, but them not seeing that way, it brings a little bit of a chip on my shoulder.
The Heisman vote this year was the biggest blowout in history. LSU quarterback Joe Burrow beating out second place Jalen Hurts by 1,846 points. Burrow threw for an SEC record 48 touchdown balls and over 4,700 yards this season. And the commander-in-chief on hand to watch the Academy Bowl. Army riding 3 straight over Navy. This play here turned the whole trajectory in the favor of the midshipman, Malcolm Berry. Textbook option shakes some noodles off the sauce near midfield on his way to the house. He began a stretch of 31 unanswered points to end the game. Trickery, cadets everywhere ready to shoot down this duck. But it gets there somehow. 31-7. Navy.
I feel like that's some of the most points I've ever seen in an Army-Navy game, and maybe my first passing play ever. It's always a ground
game. They usually
game.
throw about 4 times a game, but
that's right.
As long as they complete 2 or 3 of them, not bad.
Thank you, Morgan. We'll be right back.
This is Fox 13 News.
Bikers took part in a charity ride in Salt Lake City today. Green Bike, Salt Lake City's nonprofit bike share system, donated 1,100 winter clothing items like gloves, beanies, and more to volunteers of America's Homeless Youth Resource Center. For every person who finished, Green Bike donated 100 new winter gear items to Volunteers of America. Volunteers in South Jordan spent this morning shopping for kids in need. 6th annual Christmas for Kids fundraiser provided shopping trips for deserving children in the Jordan School District. Our very own Max Roth was there for the event. I think he pops up right about here. Maybe here. There we go. Campaign hopes to raise $50,000 for 500 middle school and high school students in need. Finally, one of our own celebrating a major milestone. This is our associate producer and assignment editor, Kenny Griffey. Graduated from Weber State this weekend.
Awesome.
Kenny started with Fox 13 in February as a studio tech. He worked his way up the ranks. He's been honored with Bachelors of Science in Psychology, 2 minors, neuroscience, guys, neuroscience.
Okay.
And communications. Yeah. Congratulations to you, Kenny. Weber, Wildcats. Maybe he's going to be Waldo. He could be Waldo someday.
There you go.
Hop in the mascot suit. We'll see you for Quick Cast.
All right.